Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a little while since I have uploaded anything, and today I'm going to be kind of telling you why that is. So, I've had like 10 life altering events happen within the last year, and more so within the last, kind of 5 months since it has been since I've uploaded a video on here. And a lot of it I physically, legally, emotionally could not share with the public at that time. And it was very, very, very challenging to make videos without certain things being in the background or without just being able to talk about those things. So basically, I just decided to take a break until I could explain everything without it, getting me or Brandon in trouble. So kind of going back to literally a year ago when I first started this channel, literally the first video I made, I kind of just started doing this because it's something I've always wanted to do and I had no reason not to. So, fast forward maybe 3 weeks later, we get a call from, let's just say, a person who I've known all my life, and there was a baby that was born, and the baby was going to go into state custody. And the person who contacted me knew that my husband Brandon and I have always wanted to be parents, that we obviously can't have a baby of our own. So we decided to go in and sign up or volunteer to be this child's foster parent. Now, I'm not going to say who, the baby's parents, biological parents are because, privacy, I guess. But the mom and the dad were unfortunately both doing drugs. The biological parents were both using drugs, and in the beginning, we just kind of went into it as we were gonna just take care of this little guy while we, could, maybe until they were able to clean themselves up, or if they were willing at all to clean themselves up, and we could just kind of be a buffer to keep the baby from going into like a group home or, just being on a waiting list, being a brand new baby going into that just kind of really, really pulls up my heartstrings because I've talked about it in another video, but I grew up a lot of my life in the system, and the idea of this child that is connected to me already from, my upbringing, it was just something that I couldn't fathom doing. So Brandon and I went in as foster parents, and we've had this little guy. His name is Sawyer. We've had him since he was 4 days old. He came straight from the hospital to us, so we went through the process of becoming foster parents, going through all of the things you have to go through to do that, going to parenting classes. It was crazy, and it was very, very time consuming on top of, working all the time. So that's kind of another reason why I haven't, been active. But mind you, I've had my hands full with a little baby. So as it was going on, we kind of started to realize that the biological parents weren't going to get their stuff together for this child. And, I understand that addiction is a very, very hard thing to overcome. And I'm not trying to, pass judgment on anyone or anything. I just don't personally understand how something could hold you back from your child. But to each their own. I do know that both of the people, involved are now getting help, but, they unfortunately weren't doing what they needed to do in order to get him back, and one of them really couldn't, because they were in prison for most of, the last year, and I believe still are. I honestly don't really know. But this isn't really their story. This is about Sawyer. So about 6 months in, like I said, we kind of started realizing that this was most likely going to be something permanent, which I went into hoping that it would be permanent because being a Cancer, it's very difficult for us to give our love to someone and be able to just be like, okay, you know, go spread your wings. It's, you know, the idea of being a foster parent and having to love a child for a little while and let them go on, it's just really, really hard to me. So in the pit of my stomach and my heart and my soul, I was hoping that it turned into something permanent. So as time went on, it started to look that way. So we started prepping for adoption, contacting attorneys, you know, doing all that, letting the system know, the state know that we were interested in being this permanent placement. We didn't want him to have been with us all this time and then go to another family. You know, at that point, he had already bonded with us. He was in all, you know, in every term of the word, he was our son. Like, we were the only parents he had ever known. So we decided that we were gonna really fight for him, and unfortunately it caused some relationships to be torn, but that's okay because from the beginning we only had his best interest at heart and still only do. But fast forward to about 2 months ago, we get the call that it's going to be permanent. So we've known for a while that it was like leaning that way, but we actually get the call that, you know, the adoption's going to happen, the ball's rolling. So at the end of last month, we actually went to court and everything was finalized. So he legally became our child. That's, you know, when we got to choose his name, which we named him Sawyer. But we had kind of been calling him that from the beginning because when you have a child in foster care, and if you do talk about them like at all on social media, you have to have a nickname. So we were calling him Soybean or just Bean or Sawyer. Sawyer is a name that I have always just really, really, really liked, and Brandon really liked it too. So we decided, okay, well, we'll use at least this name for now on social media, kind of like just living the fantasy of like, this is our life, this is our child, in the hopes that, you know, he would be forever with us. So when the time came, you know, for him to really be with us forever, we did decide that that's what we wanted our son's name to be, given the fact that we, you know, it's amazing being a parent, but there are a lot of things you have to let go of. You have to let go of a lot of relationships with your friends because you just don't have the time. You don't go out as much. You're spending all your time with this child. So the way we felt, it was just like because we were getting a lot of pushback about changing his name. But the way we see it is that we had to miss the pregnancy, we had to miss the birth, but we have taken on all of the physical responsibility of being a parent, but yet we don't even get the right to name our own child. And being a gay couple, you're already oppressed in so many levels with just adopting in the first place. It was just like that. It was just like, it felt like it was one more thing that was potentially being taken away from us that we've worked so hard to get to. So we did decide to change his name. And, you know, in all sense of who he is, nobody really knew him as what his biological name was, which I'm not going to say because that's kind of, you know, irrelevant at this point. But everyone in our family knew him as Sawyer. All of our friends, everyone, like, that's who he is. He's Sawyer. So now that the adoption is final, I can actually talk about him on YouTube. Now, I've posted it on him with Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, but like, that's not as public as a platform as YouTube is. So I kind of had to keep things under wrap on here, even though I wanted to make videos. And it's just been the most incredible process. I mean, this last year becoming a parent has been without a doubt the best year of my life. Like, I've never thought that I could be so connected to another person that can't even talk yet. It's just crazy. You fall so hard and so fast for a little one when they're, you know, with you full time. And I never really took myself as the type, you know, for kids. I knew I've always wanted kids. I just thought the probability of me being a parent was very, very low. So I never really bonded with other people's kids or, you know, anything like that. Because in a sense, it was a reminder that I wouldn't be in that position to be a parent, and it was hard. So I had never really been a kid person, but being around him so much, like, it's just a new kind of love that you didn't think you had inside you. So, that's the main reason why I haven't been on. And it's just because simply we couldn't talk about him. Even though we wanted to so badly, I have so many videos I'm going to make, and Brandon and I are going to make one together. I'm going to throw in all these little videos we've made throughout the last year of his life and everything, so you guys can kind of see everything that we've gone through the last year. But, so aside from Sawyer, we also bought our first house. We moved in, I got a new car, just kind of everything to make Sawyer's life better. We were living in a cramped, tiny apartment. Brandon and I were basically on top of each other as it was. So the idea of bringing a baby into that, it was crazy. So we started house shopping. We found this house that we bought. It's everything we could have imagined. It was brand new. No one had ever lived in it before. It's very, very big considering the price range it was in. And we literally got everything we wanted in it, like the open concept floor plan. So like Sawyer can run around and play without me feeling like he's in another room. So like the living room and kitchen and dining room are all kind of one, big room. So I can always see him. And that was something that was really big for me because I didn't want him to ever feel confined to one area. And I was driving a coupe, so a really, really, really tiny car. So imagine pulling a newborn out of the back seat of that, popping the seat, jumping in, pulling him out, closing it, going about my day. 3 to 4 times a day. It was crazy. So I bought an SUV. We bought the house, got an SUV, and finalized our adoption. All of that within the last 5 months. So it's been crazy, and I have been dying to share all this with you guys, but I wanted to do it in the right way. I wanted to be able to sit down and make this video and just put it all out there. Like I had hinted around in some videos, I was referring to him as S or the secret I can't talk about. And ultimately, like I got tired of having to hint around about it. I wanted to talk about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait until I can to make my next video and make it all about that. So that's, kind of what we're here doing. I'm going to get into, doing makeup videos and more conspiracy theory videos, but I kind of just really wanted to sit down and fill you guys in on where I've been. And I also got a cool new little background. I like the other one I had, like the little black and white check thing, but I don't know. I actually have an extra room that I have set up for my office / social media room, guest room. So I have a completely separate space for me to do this. So now that we have the house set up, the adoption's over, I can get back into making videos and sharing our life with you guys. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what was going on. Thank you for continuing. So there's been several people who have still subscribed, even though I've been absent for a while, and I just want to thank you for that. My YouTube is nowhere near big at all, but all the little growth I'm getting does mean a lot to me. So I just really appreciate you guys following, and I hope that you do share my stories, and maybe you guys can relate to this. Maybe there's someone who's watching who wants to have a family someday, but maybe are like me and didn't think that possibility was available for them. Maybe you can take everything that we've gone through and grow some seeds out of it. Maybe start looking into state adoption. That's probably the biggest thing in this video that I can push, is that anybody, straight, gay, bisexual, whatever kind of couple you are, if you want to have a family and you have anything hindering you, or you just maybe want to save a child from the state, I highly recommend that you do a state adoption. Not only does it not cost anything out of your own pocket, but you're saving a child who potentially could go down a terrible path because they don't feel like they have anyone to love them. And as a former foster child, I can relate to that feeling of it, like abandonment and not feeling like anyone believes in you. And it's not a good feeling. And there's just so many good kids out there who just need a loving home, and they're not going to care who their mommy or daddies or mommies or daddies love. They're just going to know that you love them. And if you guys have any questions about the process of adopting through the state or anything like that, please let me know, because I will give you every piece of information I have on that, because I would love to see some people starting a family because of this video. That would make my heart so happy. You have no idea. But anyways, that's kind of all I had to talk about tonight, guys. I'm gonna you're gonna be getting to meet Sawyer pretty soon in a video, and you guys are gonna love him. He's starting to talk. He can say dad and dada right now. He's just now starting to eat on his own. We just had his first birthday. We rented out a little splash pad and had everyone come. It was great. Being a parent is literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. So seriously, if you guys are thinking about it at all, ask me. Ask me what my experience was like. Ask me how hard it is, because it wasn't always easy. It's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it. Thank you guys.